Alright, hey everybody, this is Baba Sean, and we are looking at the TIE Defender. Now, I was asked to put together a capital ship subsystem guide on how to take out the different subsystems. I normally wouldn't use a TIE Defender, but if I was to use a TIE Defender, I would tend to want to take something with ion cannon, ion missile. That would take out the power system. And then you can go with like fortified deflector for shields, dampener holes so you don't get targeted by missiles so often. Propulsion engine gives you a little bit more maneuverability. I say maneuverability, but acceleration, which I find to be most important for maneuverability because it lets you stop and start a little bit faster than other ships. Alright, if I was to go after weak points in the hull, I'd probably take Barrage Rockets and go hunting for those because you can get in there and move around a bit easier. But we'll try this one out here and show how we would go about taking out power systems with the TIE Defender. Now you're not going to have ion torpedoes on a TIE Defender, and you're not going to have piercing torpedoes on a TIE Defender. So if you were to take out other subsystems like shield generators or targeting, you're going to have to do it likely with barrage rockets and laser fire. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in our flagship, and we're on pilot difficulty. That way you have what would be equivalent to what's in ranked. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and target the flagship systems subsystems here on the MC-75, and you're going to want to go ahead and make sure you got yourself going full speed. Engines, we'll be able to balance our shields, throw a little bit more in there. With the TIE Defender you have your APS system, so if you do take fire on your way in, you can keep your shields going, you can use a little extra engine boost, but we're really just going to get ourselves lined up to attack this. So I went ahead and used the APS for speed getting in here, and once we cross that threshold, of the shield, we want to fire that ion missile. Didn't quite go off that time. Let me see if I can get another run set up here. Okay, so again, we want to make sure we're on top of the ship, so we get a little bit extra space as we come down. Coming in here, under the shield barrier, and we're able to take out that system. And that's using just the ion cannon and the ion missile. And you can get yourself on out of there. If you were to go after the other systems, like the shields and stuff, you might be able to disable the subsystem with the ion missile. And all that does is cuts the shields in half temporarily, and then the shields have to come back up. Most times, like I say, you're probably going to want to use a TIE fighter. They're a bit more sturdy. They're able to carry piercing torpedoes that will go right through the shields. And so a TIE Defender is not ideal for this. So I'm not even able to really see if I'm disabling this thing properly. So again, I'd probably switch out. Probably be better off coming in underneath the shields like I am and using barrage rockets, not so much these ion lasers. But now that you've got the power system down, you're going to have these blue pimples that I'm flying over right here. There's another one over here. There's another one with the ship. So the TIE Defender is very survivable, has a high survivability rate because of the ability to pump your shields like that as you need. Here's a good example of the reverse. So if you had barrage rockets, you could come in here and open fire underneath the shields. Wow. Here's another one. You can see the Sparky. I'm pretty sure you can't kill him with an ion. That's what I'm trying to test out right now. Because as you go slow, the ship's able to mow you down. So it's not really great to be doing this. But normally you take out the shield generators, and then you have free reign on the ship. You can fly around and knock out those without having to get so close. You can see there's two of them here. the ship here. Boost the shields. So I'm just banging on the generator right now. The shield rather. Banging on the shields in the outer hull. Yeah, I think we already damaged that.
Great.
So again, TIE Defender, it can do it. You can take out that subsystem. You can be survivable, kind of hang out near the cap ship a lot. The enemy player is going to be your biggest threat, but not the best ship for assaulting the cap ship subsystems, unless you're going to get in there with like barrage rockets. So let's swap out for a barrage rocket and give that a go. So ion missile for taking out subsystem. You can do it with any ship that can carry it. So TIE Fighter would be my preference. Let's see, do I have something built out for barrage? Let's go ahead and swap this one out for barrage. Actually, I can't. I'm going to have to go back to the hangar for that. So I'll go ahead and select regular lasers and anti-starfighter. Okay, from here I can go into the Imperial hangar, and this will allow me to fit a TIE Defender with barrage rockets. So when you're testing these things out, you can do it single player without any threat. Let's go ahead and change this one out. This one right here. Okay, so we're going to edit the loadout to change from anti-starfighter to barrage rockets, and this would be more ideal for taking out the blue pimples and things. Countermeasures, I like to go with the chafe particles. Standard hull, let's go with hostile lock time increased standard. I tend to go with the fortified deflector for increased shields, and then either propulsion or unstable twin, but unstable twin reduces your shields and health, so I tend to go with propulsion. Alright, so we go with standard lasers, APS, rockets, we're good to go, and then we'll flip to our ion build, and we'll give that another shot here. Take out the subsystem, and then swap our ship to barrage rockets. So you're going to want to get in there, make your run, take out that power, and then swap out the ship. So we've got the ship in play, flagship, MC-75. We want to make our approach, get on that upper hand side of the ship so we have more runway between the shields and our target, which is that yeah, the APS, if you wanted to use it to double boost. And as we're coming in here, you can see how we're damaging it. Some ion fire. So that was just a little bit of ion fire from your ion lasers, and then one ion missile, dumb fired, so you want to double tap it in order to fire that close proximity. Probably don't even have to dumb fire it. If you got locked on the power system, you'll be able to fire it while locked at close range. It's only the torpedo that doesn't let you fire it so close. And then you can get on back to your cap ship, and this is where you're going to want to swap out to barrage rockets. So we'll select that ship, and now you can switch back to target enemy players. Go pump your lasers up a bit. So TIE Defender gets a lot of recharge going on. Alright, so we destroyed the power. That's going to open up those sparkly weak points. So as we get in close, we can slow our speed a little bit here, so we can show you how the barrage rockets are going to just destroy those pretty nice. and then you can pump your shields to make sure that you're doing okay there. Alright, so we get underneath the shields, we destroy that weak spot. I ran into something. But as you deploy out, we can take a look at the ship's hull. You can see it's already at 82%, and that's because we've been taking out the weak parts of the hull. And that's with full shields. And I believe when the power system goes down, it opens up 5. And then as additional damage is done to the capital ship, it will cause for additional ones to spawn. So let's go ahead and see about taking out the flagship subsystems. Shield generator with Barrage Rockets, and the tile defender. Alright, so we want to get... of course I hit the boost just as I got in there. I'm sitting right on top of it, mosquito style. I don't want to do that right yet. Wanting to boost and then slide in next to it. Anywho, you open up fire with barrage rockets and lasers on it when you're in close proximity, and the TIE Defender is going to have the added benefit that you can boost your shields so that when you are in close proximity like that, you'll be able to stay there a little bit longer because you've got pretty good shields. So you can see we got 96%. Let me go ahead and get into position again on this under the shields, because that's what we're trying to do here with the TIE Defender. It's not the easiest thing, and it's not the thing I am particularly best at. I would normally use penetration torpedoes. So we're slowing down to about 50%. And in that pass, I took out what maybe would have been 1 penetration torpedo. And that would be roughly 2. We can boost the shields a bit more. Alright, so whoop, probably don't want to boost so close to the ship, as you can see. That really kind of messed me up there. Yeah, so I've been boosting right on top of the ship, and that's not not ideal. Not ideal at all. Alright, but again, this is good practice for me as well, because I don't normally mosquito the ships with torpedoes and things, trying to take out subsystems. A lot of people are better at that than I am. I like the penetration torpedoes because you can get about 500, 600 out doing a straight shot on it and let it loose, and it does about 1/3 of the life of a component. Alright, so we've got our shields pretty much maxed out. We're sliding in underneath the shields here.
They got a lock on me. Get me out of this crap to me.
We'll get a good hit on that. But we can switch to the shields, and you can see how we're just sitting right on top of this mosquito style. It's doing damage to us, but it's not a whole lot. We're going to get on out of here. Boost the shields up a bit more as we move in and going. I guess that's one of the perks of it, is that you can go relatively slow while you're taking out the generator. Normally I'm flying interceptors when I try to do damage on the whole locations. And interceptors only take like 2 or 3 shots, so that's why these TIE Defenders have got a lot more shields and have the ability to pump it. So I'd recommend flying away from the ship, getting your shields back up before making another run, but sometimes you don't have that luxury. Say it's about to flip and you need to make your run. Oh man. So the tractor's got me. I'm all out of missiles. As you can see, even with laser fire, we're able to do pretty significant damage to it. You gotta get really close before you can start to power. So this is just with gliding very slow and able to stick around for a good amount of time. Mosquitoes is generally a suicide run when you're going to sit on top of the ship like that. But if we look at the subsystem now, it's at 27%. All this time spent doing this, you probably could have gone out there with a TIE fighter and fired penetration torpedoes. They take about an 8-second cooldown after firing one. If you fire them at a 500 range, 600 range, it hits the shield gen, and then you can fly out, circle back around, and have it going again. Alright, so coming in from a frontal angle on this thing, you can get in front of the shields here a little bit. Probably want to slow down, get underneath the shields, drop your barrage rockets and get out of there. Now that all the shields have been destroyed, this is when you really get the benefits of the barrage rockets as you fly in and take out those blue pimples. You can see how the ship's flying slow but not taking a tremendous amount of damage. You can boost away, come back in, get good alignment. So that's another one of the purple ones down. Can't see any others right now. We're hanging out right on top of this tractor beam gas. So you just throw power from your APS into your engines and you're able to get out of there. But just from taking out the shield gens, the power system, and a few of those weak spots, we've got this cap ship down to 41%. And you can target things like the lasers. And if we look at the it just amazes me how survivable the ship is. So that only took out 1% of the hull. As you can see, it went from 41 to 40 by taking out one turret. So you're really going to want to leverage taking out the purple whenever possible, because you can see concentrated fire, that took away 4%. Throw power into your shields, boost away. It's just a very, very survivable ship, the TIE Defender. And it's every 30 seconds you can use that APS.
They got a lock on me.
So I believe as we do damage to this, it should open up additional spots for us to attack. And you could always get rearmed, reloaded from your friends, or the cap ship flying back to the hangar. I'm just kind of seeing what's going to be required for spawning some more of those weak points. So normally you got a whole squadron helping you do this, but just kind of showing how survivable the TIE Defender is. And if you really want to have a good go, we could just take out that other subsystem. Every time I get low here, I'm just throwing power from the APS into the shield as soon as it comes up. Power to the shields. Again, you're going to be having other fighters. Whoops. This will be it for me right there. Fighters are going to be firing at you while you're doing this, so you won't have free reign of the ship. But if you're in there and you're gliding around, drifting, it's going to make it even harder for you to be hit. So if you imagine if you're just putting damage on the ship, you could be at max range, messing with the targeting system, for example. And you look at the Barrage Rockets tearing apart. This will make it so that the MC-75 has a harder time shooting us. So if you're going to do this gliding around, throwing damage like this on the carrier trying to finish off it, you probably don't want to be on the bottom side. You're only on the bottom side of the ship and you absolutely have to. Otherwise you're going to find yourself targeted by the tractor beams all the time. And if you happen to take out these turrets, that'll help your team too. Making less damage. I've got it set up so that if I shoot at something, it'll change the target to whatever that item is. Makes it easier to find turrets, change targets swiftly.
They're locking off.
If you need more firepower, you can always pump it from the APS as well, but again, survivability with the shields, accompanying the shields. I've got a missile launcher right here, so a good target. Not my favorite ship for doing damage to the Cap, but if I had to find something that could stick around long enough to take out lots of weak points or turrets, or just put hull damage on it, I mean, I can see where that could be beneficial. You could just glide around, draw fire from enemies. You're very survivable, so you could draw the attention from the enemies onto yourself and let your bombers do more cap ship damage. Again, in the game, it's not going to take nearly as long since you've got 4 other players doing their own thing, trying to bring down the cap ship. And you probably won't be able to get away with a lot of the shenanigans that you would in a training video. But hopefully this was helpful. You can take out the power system with an ion missile and some ion cannons in short order. Shield gen is going to take a little bit longer as you have to mosquito and barrage rocket and laser fire. And then taking out the hard points is probably one of the better things that the TIE Defender is good at, is to take out those weak spots in the ship, getting additional hull damage. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.